In America, if you know how to play it, the bank will basically pay you to travel. We're talking about credit cards that hand you 100,000 points just for signing up. Enough for a business class flight across the Atlantic before you've even bought a single thing. Cards that give you $3,000 a year back in credits. Uber, hotel, dining, on top of airport lounges and free upgrades. Where I live in the UK, a good sign-up bonus is 50,000 points and maybe a bit of restaurant credit. Sometimes 80, sometimes 100, but it's rare. In America, they'll hand you a flight to London just for opening an account. And it's kind of fitting because America is where it all began in the first place. The modern points game was born out of the US. US airlines started handing out miles for loyalty at the tail end of the 70s. And in 1981, American Airlines Advantage turned into the blueprint for the rest of the world. The one that everyone copied. Nobody has ever quite done rewards like the country that invented them. But none of it is free. Every bit of it is paid for by one number that most people collecting these points have never heard of. It's called the swipe fee. And right now in Washington, there's a law moving through Congress built to tear it all down. Take a look at this. Every time you swipe a card, an American shop pays 7 or 8 times more than a shop in Europe does. That is the whole reason American points are the best in the world. And it is exactly what's now under threat. So today we need to talk about 3 things. 1, why American rewards became the most generous on the planet. The one law that could bring the whole thing down, and what actually happens if it does. Because we kind of already know it's happened twice before. Let's get into it. If we really want to understand what is at risk in America, we need to go back to where the money comes from in the first place. And it comes from a fee that no one really ever sees. Every time you pay by card, the shop does not keep all of the money. A slice of it comes off top and goes to the bank that issues the card. That slice is the interchange fee. If you're not new here, you've probably heard me talk about it before, aka the swipe fee. In America, this fee is around 2%, sometimes more. In a high spending household, that's hundreds of dollars a year flowing from the shop to your bank every single year. And American banks made a decision a long time ago. Instead of pocketing it all, they'd hand a chunk back to you to win your loyalty. That's what a reward point actually is. It's a cut of the swipe fee dressed up as a free holiday. Of course, once one bank did it, they all had to do it, and it became an arms race. When Chase launched the Sapphire Reserve back in 2016 with a 100,000 point bonus, people queued outside branches. Demand was so mad, the bank reportedly took a 9-figure hit in a single quarter and decided it was worth it just to get the card into your wallet. American Express answered by stuffing its platinum card with so many credits, airline money, hotel money, Uber money, that it now advertises over $3,000 a year in perks on a card that costs $895 just to hold. And remember, we're talking about a world where people fly in lie-flat business class seats to Tokyo on points that they earned buying groceries in the supermarket. A world where a good weekend of sign-up bonuses can be worth more than most people's monthly wage. The American points game is the richest on earth, and it's not even close. So why doesn't the rest of the world have this? Well, I've kind of answered this before in another video, but even though it's the same banks and the same airlines, same Visa and MasterCard, the playing field is not the same. Everything that you've just seen rests on the swipe fee staying high, and history has a very clear answer about what happens when it does not. This exact same thing has already played out twice. Go back to 2010. A US senator named Dick Durbin passed an amendment that capped the swipe fee on debit cards. The logic was fair enough. Shops were being charged a fortune, and some of that could go back to customers at lower prices. They favored consumer comfort versus the rewards that went with these higher fees. Debit cards used to earn points too. Within about a year of that cap, debit reward programs across America were pulled almost overnight. The money that paid for them had gone. One major bank even tried to charge customers $5 a month just to use a debit card, and only backtracked after a public revolt. This was the first time that we really saw that if you cap the fee, the rewards die. The second time is where I live. In Europe, and of course the UK, regulators capped the credit card swipe fee as well. They capped it at 0.3%, less than a fifth of the American rate, and the rich reward cards that used to exist over here mostly disappeared. British banks stopped funding big points and pivoted towards making their own money from interest and foreign exchange fees instead. It's why I spend half my videos explaining how to maximize the value of a market that maybe isn't giving as much as it used to. So yes, this has played out twice before. Cap the swipe fee, And within a year or two, the points get worse. And America is the last big market not to have done this yet to its credit cards. So that brings us to now and this new law that threatens to end it all. It's called the Credit Card Competition Act. And you'll never guess who's leading the charge. Remember that guy, Dick Durbin? The same senator who capped debit card fees back in 2010 and watched those rewards vanish. 15 years on, he's back for the credit card version, alongside a Republican Senator, Roger Marshall. They reintroduced it in January 2026. This time, it doesn't cap the fee directly, it's a little more subtle. It forces the banks to allow a second, cheaper network to process your card, routing competition. It's designed to grind the fees down over time rather than slamming a cap on them, but the banks know exactly where this road leads. Less fees, less money for rewards. And this time, the politics are lining up behind it. It's picked up support from both sides of the conversation and from the very top. President Trump has publicly backed cracking down on swipe fees, calling them an out-of-control ripoff. When a Democratic senator and a Republican president are all aiming at the same target, understandably, the banks probably get nervous. This is a war over billions. On one side, the banks, Visa and MasterCard, who make a fortune every swipe and who fund your points, and on the other side, the retailers, Walmart, Target, every shop in the country who've spent years arguing that they're being fleeced. On its own, a bill like this struggles to pass, so its backers have tried attaching it to bigger laws that Congress can't afford to reject, hoping it slips through alongside them. That hasn't worked yet, but they're still looking for the right one to try it with. The people caught in the middle of this are the tens of millions of Americans holding these cards, most of whom have no idea their free flight depends on who wins. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that American points are finished, because if we're being super real, all you have to do is look at the market right now and see that that's not the case. On top of that, there's a real case that they survive. For a start, this bill has been introduced before, and it's been stalled every single time. But because this is about routing competition rather than a hard cap, the hit to rewards cards could be a lot slower than the debit card wipeout was. And then there's American Express, which plays by completely different rules. I've never really understood how, but that is just how it is. Amex is both the card and the network. It sets its own fees, so it sits partially outside of this. The Amex points empire is likely to hold out, even if Visa and MasterCard take a blow. And the former promise, the one that applied to debit cards, that shops pass their savings onto you as cheaper prices, is not guaranteed. When debit card fees were capped in 2010, a lot of that saving just stayed with the retailers. The cheaper shopping never really turned up. And in 2026, I doubt it's going to be a different picture. So it's genuinely possible that America caps the fee, you get worse points, and the prices don't budge. That is the worst of both worlds. But if history is to repeat itself, the thing is, every time the world has pushed on this fee, it's only ever moved in one direction, and that is down. Europe, it came down. America did it for debit, and it came down. It's unlikely that that pressure is going to reverse. What America has right now is the last thriving reward system of its kind on Earth. A place where ordinary spending turns into first-class flights because of a fee that every other major economy has already decided was too high. Whether that's better or worse is for you to judge. Plenty of people would rather have the lower prices and the control that came with capping it. Either way, it's the last of its kind. And there's a real chance that the country that invented the points game becomes the one that also waters it down. If you want to see just how far apart American and British cards already are, I've broken that down in a couple of different videos that I'll put on the screen somewhere. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you so much. Let me know in the comments whether you think this bill is actually going to pass, and whether American points really are about to join us in the land of the having to be smart and savvy instead of being able to rinse benefits. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you so much. I'm Jordan, this is Miles Ahead. Hope you enjoyed. And as always,